Hello and welcome to my Forever in Motion live Facebook class today. It's a beautiful July afternoon here, so I thought I'd do the class outside. So let's start with a march, and as we're marching it, I'll just give you a little bit of information about the class that we're going to do today before we kind of get into our warm-up. So let's just start by marching out, getting those arms swinging. So again, I mentioned my name is Kimberly, and for today's class, we'll have a chair nearby just in case we need one for support. I have a band, I have a set of weights, and I have a water bottle underneath my chair so that I can keep hydrated during the class. So if you just have weights or just have bands, then not to worry, I'll try to give you options when I have some available for you. And otherwise, if you don't have weights, you could always make do with soup cans. If you don't have a band, I've heard of people using things like nylons kind of thing, but both are available, lots of places where you can purchase fitness equipment. So let's get started here. Let's start with a step touch. So step together, step together. So for today's class, I thought we would focus on a little bit of back improving or back strengthening. And the reason why I thought I would do that is I just got back from vacation and we had a 12-hour drive to a family cabin in Ontario. And of course, my back has been really bothering me since. So I thought we would do some back strengthening, back stretching, and just a little bit more back care for our class today. So I hope that sounds good for you today. So continuing on with our step touch here. And let's now reach and pull with those arms. I always like to challenge your body and your mind. And of course, as always, you can do any of these seated or standing, and they virtually look exactly the same, right? If I wanted to do this seated, it would look exactly the same. I'd just be step touching side to side. So know that that's always an option. Or if you maybe feel like you can still do things standing, but maybe your balance sometimes is a bit of off, then stand behind your chair, holding that chair for support. And that's another great option for you. Okay, so starting to warm up the body a little bit, get the blood flowing. Good. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and march it out. Okay, now let's do a little rock forward, tap, rock back, tap, rock forward, tap, rock back, tap. Good. So taking one step forward and one step back. This is a little bit different than our mumbo step. Good. And this is one-sided. You'll notice my one leg pretty much stays in the spot while the other foot steps forward and back. So I will need to switch sides. Two more. And last one. Good. Okay, so if one foot was in the spot last time, the other foot will stay in the spot. And I'll step forward and back. That's it. A little bit of a rock step. And two more. And last one. Okay, march it out again. Okay, this time let's do a mumbo step to the side. So it'll look like this. So we'll come to the side, together, side, together. Let's start getting those hips moving a bit. Our hips and our back and our spine are all interconnected. So getting some movements in the hips and lower back. Good. We can get the arms moving too if we'd like. And two more. And last time. Great. Okay, march it out. Let's take a couple nice deep breaths. Deep breath in and exhale. And again, a nice deep breath. And one more time. Good. Okay, let's keep warming up. Let's just start upping it just a little bit more. Let's bring opposite elbow to opposite knee. And we don't necessarily have to touch, but even just reaching across once again and getting just a little bit of movement in the hips and lower back. As I mentioned, in case you didn't catch it at the beginning, I'm just doing a little bit more of a focus on back health, back care, getting the back moving. Okay, and 3, 2, and 1. Whatever we do to the front, I'd like to do the back. So let's now do a hamstring curl touching behind or heel to the bum. And let's bring opposite arm to opposite heel behind. Looks like this. And as I mentioned, you can do any of these seated. If you prefer to do that seated, you're still going to do that hamstring curl or heel to the bum. And I can kind of reach behind. If you don't get all the way, that's okay. But you can still do a hamstring curl in seated there if you'd like. Four, 3, 2, and last one. March it out. Okay, one last. Let's do a jumping jack. So I'm going to tap to the side while my arms come out to the side. So this is a low impact jumping jack. I can bring my arms just to shoulder height. Maybe you'd like to go just a little bit higher. And again, you could do this seated. You could do this with one hand on the chair, maybe alternating which hands come up. Or if you feel like your balance is good enough to not have to hold on to the chair, then have both arms going. Nice to see a few of you on here live. Feel free to give me a thumbs up or any emoji or that you can hear me okay. I know sometimes volume on these aren't great. I'm wearing AirPods today, so I'm hoping volume's a bit better. 4, 3, 2, and last one, and march it out. Okay, nice work, everybody. We've done a nice warm up. We've been going for about 8 minutes here. So it should feel like the body's warmed up a bit. Should feel like we're breathing a little bit heavier. So let's just gradually bring that down to our normal breathing. Take a nice deep breath in again. And exhale. And maybe take a little bit lower march. Again, nice deep breath in. And exhale. And one more time. Okay, let's roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Let's just think about our posture as we're bringing that heart rate down a bit. Bring those shoulders towards the ears and down and back. Again, shoulders towards the ears. One more time. Good. Okay, and let's just alternate lifting the heels. And you can do this seated or standing. And I'm still taking a few more nice deep breaths. Okay, now if you feel like your heart rate's still a little high, maybe walk around the room a couple more times before you stop completely. Otherwise, if you'd like to grab a drink of water. And as I'm bending down, I'm either doing kind of a split stride or kind of a squat, but I'm going to try to keep my head above my heart as I'm bending down and up, just so that I don't feel lightheaded and dizzy or anything like that. Okay, let's get into some of our back work for starters here. Let's work on our mobility or range of motion of our back, a little bit of posture. So let's start with our shoulders up, back, and down. Think about our ABCs of posture. So abdominals in, bum tucked, chest lifted, and chin tucked. So that's our good postural positioning. So let's start by having those arms out in front. And we're going to bring those hands back as far as we can, squeezing the shoulder blades together in the back, just turning on some of those upper back muscles to begin with here. Good. And release that. And again, let's bring those arms up to the side, squeezing those shoulder blades together in the back, taking a few nice deep breaths. Good. And release that. Okay, let's work on a little bit of rotation here. So let's give ourselves our genie arms. And again, you can do this seated or standing, genie arms. And we're going to bring that elbow back as far as we can, rotating with the spine, and then turning our gaze to look back behind us as well. Okay, and slowly bring it back. Good. We want our movements to be slow and controlled. Other elbow back as far as we can. Maybe increase that rotation of the cervical vertebrae, looking back behind us. And slowly coming back to center again. Let's do that one more time on each side. That feels good. Bring that elbow back. Gaze back behind us. Come back to center. And again, always listening to our body, never going too far. Elbow back. Possibly gazing behind us. And then coming back to center. Okay, let's work on a little bit of flexion and extension of the spine. So I'm going to slide my hands down my thighs, and we can do this again, seated or standing. And we're going to do a little, in the yoga world, we would call this a cat and cow. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. And on my exhale, I'm going to round my back, tuck my chin, tuck my tailbone. And then on my inhale, I'm going to lift my heart, open up through the chest, lift the crown of the head, take a nice deep breath in. Now let's try that a couple more times. Exhale and inhale. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see that again. Nice and easy for our cat. Exhale around the back. Oh, that feels good. Like I said, lots of sitting and driving for me over the last couple days. Okay, let's come back to center or neutral. From here, we're going to do a little bit of rotation of the spine. We're going to drop one shoulder towards our opposite knee, not touching, and we're going to turn our gaze across that shoulder. And then come back to center. Again, let's turn that shoulder towards the opposite knee, gaze over our shoulder, come back to center. Let's do that a couple more times. And know that you can hold this a little longer if it feels good. Good. And let's round up one vertebrae at a time all the way up. Oh, that feels good. Doesn't that kind of get your back feel like you're moving a little bit better? Just able to do your upcoming workout. Okay, great start. Let's have another quick drink. And I'm going to see if my water will stay there. It might. Okay, let's start with a little bit of back work. So we always start with the biggest muscle groups or most important muscle groups first. And we do that so that they don't fatigue and then they're not strong enough to do some of the work we do later on. So let's start by using our band. And let's just do our double arm row. So know that you can do this with your band or your weight. I'm going to turn slightly to the side so you can see this. So I'm going to step on my band with both feet. If you have too short a band, you can always step on it with one foot. I'm going to hinge forward at the hips, hanging onto my band, and my hands are going to come to my hips and then slowly lower back down. We're going to breathe at the same time, exhaling as we bring the hands to hips. Inhales, release back down. Now, real quick, I'm just going to show you that you can do this with weight or band. So you can see it's the exact same movement, whether I pick my weight or my band. And I'm going to look about 3 feet in front of me, making sure my head and neck stay in line with my spine. That's it. Keep going. Just a quick reminder, if you're choosing to do your exercises seated today, know that, and I'm going to move my water, know that you can always have the option to do things seated if you prefer. So I would just be sitting on my chair and I would do that exact same double arm row in my chair if I preferred to do things seated. Looks exactly the same as that standing version. So we're aiming to do about 12 to 14 of those. I bet you're getting close to that. Let's see, 2 more. And last one. Great. Okay, let's come on up, stand up. And if you ever need to maybe pause halfway, maybe at rep 6 or 7, take a break, stretch the back, maybe just stand up and let the back release for a moment. Feel free. Don't feel like you have to do that the whole entire time. Okay, let's take our band and let's put it behind our back this time for our chest fly. Actually, let's do a press. So we're going to have our knuckles pointing in front, our elbows in line with our knuckles here, and I'm going to press forward and then come all the way back. And again, my seated version will look exactly the same as this one. Pressing forward in front, and then elbows come back to that 90-degree angle, and then all the way together in front, and then all the way back. And I need that big swing if I want to work my chest. If I do something along the lines of this, then that is a tricep exercise instead. So making sure those elbows are wide, hands coming together in front. That's it. Keep going. Couple more there. Doing great. And 2 more. And last one. Always listening to your body, only going as many as it feels comfortable. When you get to the point of fatigue or the point of where you don't feel like you can do right more, 1 more, then that's when you're stopping. Okay, let's take our band. Now I like to kind of save the center of my band. We tend to use the center of the band a lot. So I tend to, on occasion, use the side of my band just to save that center part. So we're going to do a back squeeze. So I'm going to take my band nice and close to my chest here. I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together in the back and then release. Squeeze my shoulder blades together in the back and release. I'm going to make sure I'm breathing at the same time. And so we'll exhale as we squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then inhale as we release. And 2 more. And last one. Good. Okay, give those shoulders a little bit of a shake. So you've noticed I've done 2 back exercises and 1 chest exercise. And the reason why we do that is because so many of our activities in our daily life is in this forward fold position. So we do so many things like this. We're trying to reverse it by doing more back strengthening than chest stretching. So that's why we did 2 back to 1 chest. Let's have another quick drink. Okay, let's give that upper body just a little bit of a break and let's go into some of our lower body work. So I know squats are everyone's favorite because they're very functional. We do them all the time in our daily life. So let's start with our hips or feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to sit our bum back, keeping our chest lifted, and then coming all the way back up. Trying to maintain that neutral spine the entire time. I like my arms to come out in front, kind of as a counterbalance. Now, know you always have options for seated. So if you don't feel comfortable doing that standing, keep going if you don't mind it standing. If you prefer not to, then I'm going to get you to take your band, wrap it around your foot, and then you're going to simply straighten and bend that leg. So that's your seated option. Your hands are going to stay in the spot, and your leg is going to simply straighten and bend. So not a kind of a swing of the leg, but straighten and bend. Okay, those of you doing that standing squat, you're probably about at number 8 or 9 by now. Let's see if we can do just a couple more. And last time. Okay, great. Give it a little bit of a shake. Shake out those legs. Okay, and let's go back to some more upper body here. Okay, so for our upper body, let's move to our shoulders. Let's do our shoulder shrug today. So once again, you can do this with a band or with weights. So if you're doing it with your band, you're going to place it underneath your feet. And again, if your band's a little short, you could always stand on it with just one foot if you'd prefer. I'm going to grab a little bit lower on my band so that I have a little bit more tension, and we're going to simply lift the shoulders towards the ears and then lower back down. Let's breathe at the same time here. Exhale as we lift those shoulders up. Inhale as we bring those shoulders back down. Now you can do this seated or standing. If I'm doing this seated, then I would be sitting on the front half of my chair so that my hands aren't stopping kind of a little bit too soon. And I could also do this with my weights as well. So I could have weights in my hands instead. And always doing our movements slow and controlled. And if we do it nice and slow and controlled, then we can match it to our breath, take some nice deep breaths at the same time. And 2 more. And last one. Good. Okay, and let's release that. Good, give it a little bit of shake. I'm going to keep the band underneath there for one more exercise though. Oh, okay, doing great. So let's go into our biceps and triceps. So once again, I'm going to stand with my feet about hip width shoulder apart, shoulders back and down, chest is lifted, and we are going to do a bicep curl. I really like the reverse bicep curl. Ooh, that's just a little bit too much resistance there. Still might be a little bit. So I'm going to bring my feet just a little bit closer together. Now that feels pretty good, but know that you could always step on the band with just one foot if you'd like. If it's just a bit too much tension. I really like this reverse bicep curl because it works our forearms as well as our biceps, so helps us if we're opening jars, maybe there's, something we're needing some forearm strength for, then this helps with some of that forearm strength as well. Okay, let's see 3 more. No, you can always stop sooner if you'd prefer. And last one. Good. Okay, and release that. Let's give that a shake. Let's just put our band down for a moment. Grab a quick drink. Okay, let's get on to triceps. So a couple times I've done tricep dips. I know that some chairs have armrests, some don't. And I know at a lot of our Forever Motion group, it's kind of 50-50. Actually, I'm just going to use one weight. Some of our groups have armrests on our chairs, some don't. Just know that if you ever are doing your triceps, and I'm doing it with the armrests, with a tricep dip, you can always do a couple different options. You can grab your band and you can just do an extension, or you can grab your weight and I'll do a tricep kickback this time. But you always have options. So if you don't have chairs with arms, not a big deal. Do one of the other tricep options. So I'm going to do a kickback today. So I'm going to stagger my stance. And once again, I could do this seated if I wanted to. And then but it would look exactly the same. I'm going to hinge forward, putting my one hand on my one leg. So the leg that's forward, that's the arm that's going to rest on the thigh or leg. My other hand is going to come to my hip, and I'm simply going to straighten that arm and bend the arm. You can see that the top of my arm there, I could rest a loonie or a toonie on the top of my arm and it shouldn't fall down. Our goal is to get it there. If you're not quite up that high, that's okay. But as much as possible, try to keep that upper arm still. What we want to try to avoid is swinging through or that arm dropping, because I'm really working my shoulders and I'm not really working my triceps. So straighten and bend. And again, just a quick show of what it looks like seated. And you can't really see it on that side. I'll switch to the other side. So it's just straightening and bend, and you can see I can do that seated as well. Looks exactly the same. Okay, let's see 2 or 3 more here. Now you can stop sooner if you'd like. And one more. Okay, and we'll release that. We'll switch sides. Maybe give that a little bit of a shake or roll the shoulders between. Now another option, if you'd like, you can always use, if you have armrests on your chairs, you can always use that armrest. If you didn't want to actually come all the way down to that thigh, or maybe you've got a bad knee, you could use that armrest of your chair as an alternative. And you always want to think about good postural positioning. I'm trying to look straight ahead, keeping my head and neck in line with my spine. My back is straight or neutral spine. So I'm not putting any additional pressure or stress on my back. And 2 more. And last one. Know that you can do a couple more if you've got a little bit more energy in you, or if that's all you're able to do today. Give that a little bit of shake. Roll the shoulders out. I'm just going to give those shoulders and those triceps just a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a stretch. Good. Okay, that feels great. Okay, let's work on to some leg strengthening as well as balance. As we know with a lot of those, we can double up. So I'm going to bring my chair forward just a bit, just so I can use that for a little bit of support as I'm doing some of these exercises. Okay, so we have our chair in front of us. Know that we have 3 options always. We have level 1, we really feel like we feel more comfortable with our hands on our chair for support or balance. Maybe just fingertips that you don't feel like you need a lot of support, but maybe feel just more comfortable. And then you can have your hands just hovering above your chair or standing behind your chair if you'd like. Let's start with our calf raises. So working our calf and our tibialis anterior. So I'm going to have my fingertips on my chair in front, and I might actually just have one hand right here right now. I'm going to lift up all the way and then slowly rock back, coming back onto our heels, lifting our toes. Again, coming all the way up. And then just remembering about our posture. So standing tall, imagining that string pulling us nice and tall. And again, slow and controlled. If you can move to just fingertips on the chair, or if you can move to no hands on the chair, just there in case you need it, feel free to do that. And again, nice and slow and controlled. And just a couple more here. And last one. Good. So that was a little bit of leg strength. And then if you're avoiding having your hand completely on the chair, then that also incorporates your balance at the same time. Okay, give that a little bit of a shake there. Okay, this next one I really like because it's actually gonna kind of stretch our back just a little bit at the same time. So we're gonna have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I'm gonna have a little bit of a staggered stance, and I'm gonna lean forward, and I'm gonna lean back. And again, I can have that chair there for support there if I'd like. Now I can also add my arm up at the same time, reach up, and then come all the way back. Oh, a little bit of sunshine there. I'm kind of solar powered, so that sunshine gives me just a little bit of energy. Good. Now, if you feel comfortable that you don't need either hand on your chair, you can lift up both hands and then come on back. Again, lift all the way up. Okay, one more. Okay, let's switch feet here. So give that a little shake, switch sides, other leg forward. And if you need that chair for support, have that chair for support here. As one arm comes up, the other hand can stay near. Or if you don't feel like you need that hand on your chair for support, you can lift both arms, rock forward, rock back. You can challenge yourself just a little bit by making those feet just a little bit closer together. You can see sometimes I'm just a little bit wobbly there. That means my balance is being challenged. And last time. Great. Okay. And release that, give that a little shake. Okay, have another quick drink. Okay, let's do another leg strength. I find we do a lot of things for our hip flexors, but not so much for our side and our back. So let's do one for our outer thighs this time. That hip extension there was for our back side, our glutes and our hams. So now let's work on a little bit of those outer thighs or abductor muscles. So once again, I can use my chair for support if I need it. But if I don't feel like I do, maybe I'm just going to hover my hands. My leg is going to come out to the side, leading with my heel more than my toe. And then I'm going to slowly lower back down. I'm going to alternate sides, lift up, and slowly lower. And if I go slow and controlled, we know that's going to be harder than fast. And as well, it's going to challenge my balance more. So it'll be more for our strength as well as our balance if we go slow and controlled. And if I feel comfortable with my balance, then I'm going to actually take both hands down and I'm going to look straight ahead, standing nice and tall. And let's see, two more. And last time. Yeah. Okay, give that a little shake. Maybe you feel that a little bit in your hips, just a bit. Great job. Okay, let's move into some abdominal work. So for our abs, why don't we again challenge our balance and our abs at the same time? I love the double dippers. So we're going to work our obliques. Again, you can have that chair for support if you like. I'm going to reach one arm up. I'm going to bring my hip to my armpit and then back down. Armpit and hip together and release. Or you could say elbow and hip together and release. So notice I'm not lifting my knee very high. It doesn't need to be a high lift. So what I would like us to avoid is this, not the same exercise. You're working your hip flexors, which we really don't need to work very much. It's armpit to hip, and we're trying to work our obliques along our side. Now, if you can challenge your balance a little bit, I'm going to have my chair here just in case. I would encourage you not to put that foot all the way down. Keep it hovering. That's it. Whew. That other side is starting to work a bit. Two more. And last time. That was kind of cruel of me because we just did hip abductors. And then this is working our obliques and some hip abductors for this one too. So this one's a hard one. Okay, let's do that on the other side here. Other arm up, armpit and hip together, and release. Armpit and hip. Okay, if you're ready for that additional challenge, try not to tap down all the time. And this is where you might want to have one hand on your chair for support just in case, or trust yourself, trust your balance. And two more. And last time. Great. Give that a shake. So that was for our obliques or side abdominal muscles. Let's work some front and back side as well. So let's start with some back part. I'm going to turn my chair. Well, let's have a quick drink since it's right here. Okay, I'm going to start with the back side. So this one here is known as bird dog. We're working our back muscles. So let's see what the best view is for you here. I'm going to place my hands on my chair here. And I'm going to kind of look like I'm in a kind of a tabletop position. My level one might be that I just lift my arms. My level two option might be that I just lift my leg or extend my leg back. And my level 3 option is I lift my arm and my leg at the same time. So I'm going to lift my opposite arm, opposite leg, extend them both out, and then slowly lower back down. I'll try that on the other side. I think you can see me. Yeah, you can see okay. So get the idea of opposite arm, opposite leg, and then back down. So no, you can just do one arm at a time. You can just do one leg at a time, or you do opposite hand, opposite leg. So I chose this one today. I'd mentioned to you that my back's a little bit sore. One of the best things that we can do is to strengthen our back. So we made sure we did 2 back exercises earlier. And then this one here is for our back core or back, our core includes our lower back, our obliques are along the side of our body, as well as our front. So this one will strengthen that core, but the back side of the core. That's it. I'm going to try for 2 more. Now you can always stop sooner if you've had enough, or you could do 1 more with me. Great. Okay, and release that. Okay, give it a whole shake. I'm sure feeling that in my lower back. Just really important that we're stretching and strengthening our back. So let's sit on the edge of our chair. Let's do 1 more core exercise, and then we're going to give everything a really good stretch, and especially that back, since I said I wanted to work just a little bit more on that back today. Oh, and the sun has come out. I might just sit here and enjoy the sun here at the same time. Let's sit up nice and tall, roll those shoulders back and down. Now we're going to start with our hands on our thighs, and we can just simply slide those hands back and then slide all the way back forward. For level 2 option, we could have those hands crossed in front, or for level 3, have those fingertips behind the head and come back. And with my back today, I think I'm going to choose level 2 today. Good. So you might have noticed for our core work, we started with those obliques. We did some lower back, and now we're doing some front core work. So we've worked all 3 sides of our core, or 4 sides, both sides of our obliques. So we should feel nice and well-rounded. Hi, Ted. Good, and feel like we've worked all sides of those obliques. Good. Good, and I find that core strengthening is just especially important with our back strength or our back functioning. If we don't have strong core, we might try lifting something that might tweak or put out our back. So that core strengthening front, side, and back is all so vitally important. Okay, that's pretty good. Feel free to do a couple more if you feel like you got a couple more in you. If you've had enough, do a couple shoulder rolls with me. Okay, let's stretch everything out here, and I'm going to wrap up with just a couple extra back stretches. So let's start by extending one leg out, keeping that knee soft. I'm going to roll my shoulders up, back, and down, and I'm going to hinge forward at the hips, getting a nice stretch through that hamstring and through that calf muscle. Oh, we're going to take a couple nice deep breaths at the same time, just letting everything relax and lengthen. And I'm going to take one more breath. I'm going to wiggle that foot out a little further. I'm going to bring that toe a little bit up higher. That lifting of the toe just deepens that calf stretch there. And let's release, other side. So extend that foot, roll the shoulders back and down, hinge the hips, not the spine, and sit forward. You'll notice that we don't reach for our toe, and the reason for that is I know back when I first started teaching fitness classes, we used to always reach, but then there goes our posture. So instead, we choose to have better posture. You get a much better stretch if you have better posture anyways. Getting a nice stretch. So take one more breath. Maybe wiggle that foot a little further out, hinge forward a little bit further, lift the toe a little bit higher. Good, and release that. Okay, let's do our hip flexors and our quadriceps. So let's give that a turn. Let's take that leg back. I like hanging onto my armrest. If you don't have armrests, feel free to hang on to the back of your chair instead. And you're going to take that leg back as far as you can, feeling a nice stretch here through the front of the thigh, the hip flexors, and then down into the quadriceps. And when we have sore backs, like I do right now, I told you I did lots of sitting. My hip flexors would probably be a little bit tight right now. So having that nice stretch along the front would be really beneficial to reverse some of that tightness in my lower back. And this is one I wouldn't mind stretching or holding for just a little bit longer than normal. Good. And let's switch. Other side, so let's take the other leg back. Again, hanging on to that chair there if you'd like. Now know that you always have an option to also do this standing. So if you'd like, you could do this standing as well. So a little bit of a pelvic tilt, sink down low. Nice stretch to the hip flexor and down into the quadricep. Good, and release that. Okay, let's stretch those hips. Let's take one leg over the other leg, and if we don't have a lot of hip mobility, maybe we're keeping that ankle at the other ankle, so one ankle across the other. Maybe bringing that ankle to just below the knee, gently pressing on the inside of the inner thigh. Or maybe I have really good hip mobility today. My hips are feeling pretty good. My ankle is crossed the knee, and I'm going to gently press on the inside of the knee. Now I have pretty good range of motion in my hips. I'm actually going to hinge forward slightly, keeping the chest up, so I'm not rounding the spine. I'm hinging at the hips. Nothing like exercising like with one of your best buds here, hey? Okay, now let's release that. Let's switch sides. Other leg cross, sitting up nice and tall. Option again to cross at the ankle, just below the knee or above the knee. And then you can also gently press on the inside of that thigh. Taking a few nice deep breaths at the same time. Good, and release that. Okay, let's do a couple upper body stretches. I'm going to stand up for this. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to have one arm crossed over the other arm. Getting a nice shoulder stretch. Take that same arm up and back, like you're patting yourself on the back for a great job today. Maybe press on that upper arm. Getting a nice stretch in your tricep there as well. If you have really good shoulder mobility, maybe bring that arm up and over. Just make sure that you're not pulling on your neck if you do that. And release. Other arm across the front. Stretch out through the shoulder. Take that arm up and over, again, a tricep stretch. And then I wanted just a couple extra back stretches. So this is one that I like to do, and I would normally do this on one of my countertops, like a kitchen countertop kind of thing. So this is going to be a little bit high, but that's okay. I'm going to place my hands on the back of my chair, walk my feet back, and then just let my shoulders drop down, getting a nice stretch through that lower back, through the shoulders. Take a couple breaths here, allowing those muscles to relax. And again, listen to your body. What do you need to do? Do you need to back off of that shoulder stretch a little bit? Do you need to soften the knees to release some of the pressure on the lower back? I'm going to tuck my tailbone under a little bit, getting a nice stretch in my lower back. Good. And release that. I could probably stay with like there for a couple more minutes, but I won't do that to you. So another back stretch I like to do here. Let's take one arm up. Reach that arm up, reach it, extend it up. Now, Jane Fonda taught us to do really, really big lifts, but that can be hard on our spine if we have some osteoporosis in it. So instead, I'm going to reach my arm up, give that a gentle pull, and just a slight stretch to the side, maintaining fairly neutral spine at the same time. But by giving that arm a little bit of extra pull, I'm going to feel a stretch through my lats, which is one of the big muscles in my upper back or in my lower back. Those are your angel wings, so they kind of span a big long part of the sides of the back. Good, and release that. Let's take another deep breath in. Let's do that on the other side. Give that a pull to the side. Good, and release that. Okay, a couple more nice big shoulder roll, up, back, and down. Maybe take a couple more deep breaths with that. Good, shake it out. Let's just do last couple stretches for the wrists. Let's do a couple wrist rotations. Another direction. Let's open our hands and close our hands. If we have some arthritis in our hands, one of the best things we can do is that opening. We tend to do this more. So we want to open as far as we can and then a little close. And then open as far as we can. Yeah. Okay, let's play piano. Getting some movement in those fingers. Great. And release that. Okay, let's take a couple last deep breaths, kind of as a great pat on the back for a job well done today. Deep breath in and exhale. Again, nice deep breath in. One more time. Well, thank you so much for joining me for my July Forever in Motion Facebook class. Maybe when we're in the dead of winter and you just need a little bit of sunshine and flowers, you can come back and watch this video at a later time. If you do end up watching this, well, anytime that you end up watching this, I would love to hear what your favorite part of summertime is. My favorite part is I just got back from the lake, and there's nothing better than hanging out at the lake, listening to the loons, and going fishing. So I'd love to hear what your favorite part of summer is. Thanks for joining me today for my live Facebook class, and I'll see you again in a few weeks. Have a great rest of the day. Bye for now.